All right, here we go again with chapter 10, multiply and divide fractions. Today we're on lesson 3, the hands-on model of fraction multiplication. So what that means is that we're going to be multiplying fractions, but we're going to be looking at how we're doing it with boxes. So for example, if we have 1/3 times 3, we're going to make that into a model. We're not going to actually do the math until we do a model of it. So if I have 1/3, that means that I have to have had 3/3 at some point, right? Something has to be separated into thirds. So we're going to make 3 sets of thirds. So 1 there, here's 2, and here's 3. Now, since we're making a model, we don't have to be exactly perfect, of course. But I'm going to grab another color just so this is very, very clear. All right. So here we have these thirds, correct? And we chose 3 because this number was 3. All right. So now what we're going to do is color 1 out of 3 for each of these. So color 1, color 2, color 3. So for each of the 3 sets of thirds, I'm going to color 1. And we know they're thirds because our denominator is 3. Okay? So now, when we are done with that, like we are now, we look and see how many thirds we have. And we have 3 thirds because 1, 2, 3 are colored in. And we know that when you're simplifying fractions, 3/3 equals 1. So all together, if I were to take this one and put it here, and this one and put it here, I would have one complete whole. And that's really what they want you guys to see. Now, sometimes we don't do these models because sometimes I think they're very confusing, but this is a great visual because then we can see, okay, 1/3 times 3 actually equals 1 whole. Let's try another one. We have 4 times 2/3. Now remember, the commutative property of multiplication says it doesn't matter which number you multiply first because they're all still part of a community. So you'll notice here the whole number was on the right, here the whole number's on the left, does not matter at all. Okay? Now I know because my whole number is 4 that whatever I have to have 4. Just like up here I had 3, so I had 3 wholes. Okay? So I'm going to have 4. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 4 holes to represent that 4. Now I'm going to draw 2/3. Oh, 2/3. I know my number is thirds again, so we're dealing with thirds again. You won't always be dealing with thirds. Just happen that way. In fact, we'll do one next that doesn't have thirds, so you can see that. So now I have thirds, 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 thirds. Thirds meaning there's 1, 2, 3 spaces in each box. Okay? But now I need to color 2 out of 3 in every one. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Now I'm a very visual person. I need to look at things, see things, and so colors to me help. So if you're like me and you think that colors will help you, then absolutely make sure you're using colors. All right. So now I need to figure out how many thirds I have total. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 thirds. Okay. But I can't leave an improper fraction. So now I would have to go, okay, 3 can go into 8 how many times? So basically I'm doing this. 3 will go into 8. 3 goes into 8 twice. Goodness. 2 times 3 is 6 with a leftover of 2. So this 2 is my whole number. So that pops up here as my whole number. Okay. This 2 is my remainder. The 2 over here goes up here. It's my numerator now. And the thirds becomes my denominator. So it's 2 and 2/3. And if you look at this, if I were to redraw this, let's say I put this one here. Well, that's going to be very confusing. I'm not going to make it more confusing than it is. No, it's actually not. If I took this one and I put it here, I put this one here, then I would have 2 fulls. This one's gone now, and I have 2 out of 3 left over. So that's not super confusing. Actually, that's fine. Okay, let's try one more. And I'm hoping that you're finding that this isn't super, super hard. Just because if you are, then I'm hoping that you're not overcomplicating it. All right, so now we have 3/4 times 2. And again, doesn't matter where the whole number is, but the whole number represents that I'm going to have 2 whole boxes that I will separate into whatever the denominator is, which is 4. That means I'm going to have 4 pieces in each of these boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, since I have 2 boxes and 4 pieces in each box, I'm going to color 3 of those in each box. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I add them up. So I have 3 here, 3 here. So that's 3 times 2 is 6. And there were 4 boxes or 4 pieces in each one. So I have 6/4. Again, I say 4, well, let's do it this way. 4 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. That gives me a remainder of 2. So again, my 1 is my whole number. My 2 is the leftovers. So it's my numerator. And the 4 becomes the denominator. Okay. But 1 and 2/4 can't be right because that's not simplified. So I know 2 goes into 2 and 2 goes into 4. So we'll do this. 1 is my whole number. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 4 twice. So my answer is 1.5. And you can see that if I were to take this one and put it over here, then I would have 2 out of 4 pieces here. So 1.5 would be right. Let us know if you need help.